You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Live at 4. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Everybody got the green memo today?
We're not messing around today. We're ready. I've had this vest for like 20 years.
Oh, and wait till you see the pants.
Yeah.
They're great. I can't wait to
pulling out all the stops.
Yes. Hope you're having a good afternoon. It's nice to see the sun. Still a little on the chilly side.
A little chilly, but we'll take it over what it could be.
That's right. Later this week, things are going to take a little bit of a turn, and Alex is out on the patio with more on that. Hi, Alex.
Hey there, and I got a green tie on to match as well. Yellow shades for the warm weather that's on the way before all that messy weather that's on the way to southern Wisconsin by the time we get to Wednesday. Our First Warn Weather Cam network here at Edgewater showing 54, but you say it's a bit chilly when you got winds at 20 miles per hour. It does put a little bit of a bite in the air, even though the actual air temperatures are in the upper 50s to near 60 west of Madison. Again, these gusty winds, which we have out here in the patio, you can probably hear it in my microphone. Again, it puts just a little bit of a chill. 61 in the Wisconsin River Valley, 54 in Janesville, and 60 to the north of the Dells. A warm night tonight. Those breezes will keep those temperatures up in the upper 30s to near 40. Normal lows are 10 degrees colder than that. And how about right around 60 to 65 for a good portion of the WISC viewing area on Tuesday? That's out ahead of our next weather maker. But before that, real quick, planning the night, mild St. Patrick's Day evening, clear skies, temperatures staying in the 50s through 40s and 50s as we head through the evening. And then here we go, alert day conditions, more wind on Wednesday, but also isolated storms. A strong storm is possible. And then in Maine weather, we're going to track that storm threat changing over to wet, slushy snow. You don't want to miss that in a few minutes.
Oh, we can hear that wind out there. All right, Alex, we'll check back in a little bit. Thank you. The parents of two boys that died after falling into a Sun Prairie retention pond last year are suing the city, the school district, the police, the fire department, and several other entities over that incident.
Online court records show Kiana Sims and Antoine Devonte Amos Sr. are suing the defendants for personal injury. Last January, their 8- and 6-year-old sons fell through the ice on a retention pond in the area of South Thompson Road. Just days later, both children had died. In the wake of their deaths, the city put a fence around the pond, and it came down months later.
We reached out to the city of Sun Prairie for comment on this lawsuit. A representative told us because the litigation is pending, the city is not able to provide a comment.
One person is dead after a crash on I-94 this morning in Jefferson County. This happened at about 2 near Concord and County Highway East. While responding to the crash, State Patrol closed I-94 East from ramp WIS 26 to County F. The Department of Transportation said the scene was cleared after 6 hours. We've called the State Patrol and asked how many cars were involved and if there were any other injuries. They said they could not provide that information.
A startling new report from Second Harvest and Public Health Madison-Dane County shows more people are food insecure now than they were before the pandemic. The USDA defines food security as access at all times to enough food for an active and healthy life. Food insecurity refers to when access is not sufficient or uncertain for at least one person in a household at some point in a given year. Here are some of the report's key findings. It shows 1 in 10 people in Dane County are considered food insecure, including 1 in 8 children. Between 2021 and 2023, the 6 largest food pantries in Dane County reported a 112% increase in family visits. And last year, Second Harvest had its highest yearly food distribution ever, meaning that more people were seeking help. If you'd like to donate to Second Harvest to help the group reach people dealing with food insecurity, go to secondharvestsw.org.
Later this week, One City Advocates will host a candidate forum for the state superintendent race. They've invited both incumbent Superintendent Jill Underly and her challenger, Brittany Kinzer. Only Kinzer has confirmed so far. Underly declined because of scheduling issues. But One City says The invitation remains open if something changes. The forum will be at Christ Presbyterian Church on East Gorham Street this Thursday from 6:30 to 7:45.
People in Madison can now use the city's ballot drop boxes for the April election. There are 14 drop boxes scattered throughout Madison. Before you put your ballot in the box, make sure you've included your signature, your witness's signature, their name and address. After you drop off the ballot, 2 sworn election officials will place them in a bag with a tamper evidence seal and take it straight to the clerk's office personnel.
When voters cast their ballots, they'll be taking part in an election that will decide the ideological sway of the state Supreme Court, and that could have huge implications for unions and abortion rights.
And while those are 2 of the key areas that could be impacted by this race, the ads are focused on another issue, crime. Specifically, what kind of sentences are appropriate for each crime. Later tonight, our Will Keneally will have a special report on how truthful those ads are, and he joins us now to give us an early look. Hi, Will.
Hello. Hi, thanks for having me.
So what ads did you look at?
So this one is an ad, similar arguments targeting both candidates. They're both sitting judges. The Liberal candidate, Susan Crawford, here in Dane County, the Conservative candidate, Brad Schimmel, over in Waukesha County. Essentially attacks that these two are light on crime, light on sentencing for the defendants that appear in their court. It's interesting that we see both candidates have the attack ads essentially are making the same argument, targeting each other there.
Yeah, that isn't usually it's one or the other, but did you find anything else surprising in this?
Yeah, the thing that was kind of interesting to piece together here is to get in the heads of what a judge is going through when they're thinking about imposing these sentences. So they have these rubrics, essentially. They can look at aggravating issues in a court case or mitigating issues in a court case. For example, if you're looking at a sexual assault case, if a victim contracts an STD from that, that's a little bit more damage to that person. So they might impose a longer court sentence. But overall, the state court system has asked judges to consider what is the least amount that you can impose on defendants that still protects the community when they issue these judgments. So kind of an interesting way to put your head in these judges as they make their decisions.
We're getting so inundated with these ads right now. A lot of people are wondering, are they coming from the candidates themselves or are they sponsored from other outside groups? And if so, where are they coming from?
Long story short, both. It's coming from all over the place. These 2 ads that we're looking at specifically are coming from the 2 campaigns themselves, but a litany of these ads have been coming from third-party groups with all the money that's being spent in this race, this shattering all kinds of records. Today, I believe we just hit the cap where it's now past $59 million, which breaks all kinds of records for this race.
And certainly it's not out of the ordinary for ads to go negative, but in terms of the previous state Supreme Court races we've seen, how negative are these this year?
I would say it's about on par. Again, with these 2 sitting judges, they can attack each other for that judicial record. The interesting thing to note here, though, is when whoever wins, when they're seated on the Supreme Court, they don't deal with trials, right? So they won't be sentencing defendants at the state Supreme Court level. The Supreme Court does kind of review some judges' sentences, but that usually gets kicked back down to the trial court judge to say, hey, maybe take another look at this. Not the Supreme Court is going to impose new sentences fresh themselves.
And when can we see your special report?
Tonight at 6, so stay tuned.
Okay, and this is sort of like a reality check style, where you're going to break down some of the claims in the individual ads?
Yep, exactly.
Great.
So we call it, I call it the spice meter.
That's good.
How true or false these claims are, watch out for the spice meter.
That'll be very helpful for viewers. We'll see you at 6, Will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, next time Live at 4, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is worth more now than ever, and some people are making the most out of it.
Our Kyle Pazorski shows us whether this small movement is having a big impact on local gold sellers when we come back.
Well, you missed it. We were talking about recipes behind
now
the scenes.
We're hungry.
It clearly must be St. Patrick's Day, so have your corned beef. And we are also talking about gold, the price of which has risen to historic highs.
Our Kyle Pazorski spoke with a local gold dealer about if now is a good time to buy or sell.
Rick's Old Gold on Willie Street is seeing more traffic come in these days with people looking to sell their gold. It was on Friday when the price of the precious metal passed an all-time high $3,000 per ounce. It's been flirting with the number ever since. And while many are looking to the stock markets in the first 100 days of the new Trump administration and seeing volatility, shop owner Rick Paoli says gold is continuing to go up on feelings of fear for what's to come.
We just got done with a crazy 4 years with the last president. We're entering into a new crazy 4 years with a new president. He promised a bunch of stuff and he's everywhere. But the bottom line is that's causing confusion and strife in investors.
He says for people looking to make a quick buck off the record highs, now is the time to do so in trading in some scrap for cash. Meanwhile, he says for those looking to invest in gold, any time is right to buy and hold on to. In Madison, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Kyle. Additionally, if you're looking to sell any scrap gold, Rick is continuing a promotion of paying anyone $25 to simply bring in $500 worth of gold for them to take a look at. A sale is not even necessary to receive that free cash. Tomorrow, President Trump will have a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin about a potential temporary ceasefire in Ukraine. The Kremlin spokesperson has confirmed the president and Putin will speak, but didn't provide other details. President Trump also says negotiators working to end the war between Russia and Ukraine have already talked about dividing up assets. The issue of land concessions is among the most sensitive, and U.S. officials have said Ukraine will likely need to give up some territory to end the war.
The president is warning Iran against more actions from Yemen's Houthi rebels. The country is seen as the group's main benefactor. The president made the warning on his Truth Social website, escalating his administration's new campaign of airstrikes targeting the rebels. This weekend alone, those strikes have killed 53 people. The U.S. has been trying to curb Houthi capabilities for months as the group has targeted international shipping lanes in the Red Sea.
Let's get a check on the weather now. Alex is here in the studio. Nice St. Patrick's Day afternoon out there.
Yeah, I'd say so. Top of the, I'm just going to try to do something Irish.
Come on, you can do it.
Top of the day for you, top of the weather for you, something like that. I could try harder. I should have thought more about it. But what we do need to talk about briefly, though, with the windy conditions that you just saw out in first weather out there, with low relative humidity, mild temperatures, we do have an elevated fire risk right now. Even though it's nice outside, we have to remind folks about the elevated fire risk. Beautiful St. Patrick's Day evening. Even though it's a bit on the breezy side, temperatures in the 50s will dip down into the 40s. We got 54 at the airport, 57 in Middleton, 58 Cross Plains as we head down the highway to the west. Let's go further to the west, 61. Let's go to the north, 60 in Camp Douglas, and to the southeast, 54 in Janesville. So very mild night tonight, lows around 40 degrees, maybe a few clouds out there. Remind you, that's 10 degrees above normal, and our temperatures, normal high 44, we'll do 60 in Madison. How about 64 in Platteville? So maybe this is the gold at the end of the rainbow here with our St. Patrick's Day there. There's some St. Patrick's Day insertion there. That nice stuff right now. And then here's the not such nice stuff that we've been talking about since last week, since our last set of alert days. Here comes the next set, Wednesday going to Wednesday night. For storms changing over to heavy, wet, slushy snow as we go into Wednesday night. Let's break it all down here. Future Track shows the rain showers building in late Tuesday night, becoming widespread as we go into Wednesday. Take note of the darker greens here as we go towards 12 o'clock. Could be looking at a couple of thunderstorms in southwest Wisconsin racing to the east throughout the day, and one or two of those storms could get on the strong side, and I'll explain more about that in just a moment. Then that cold air invades from northwest to southeast, rapidly changing the rain and storms over to that slushy, heavy, wet snow by the time we get to 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock Wednesday night. Could get a little bit of slushy accumulation as well. 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of that slushy snow, the heavy stuff, way to the northwest up towards Eau Claire if you have travel up there, or towards Minneapolis. And our temperatures here briefly, just a snapshot, 4 o'clock on Wednesday afternoon, 60 degrees from Mineral Point to Madison and points to south, much colder to the north. But on the warm side of this weather system, we could be looking at a couple of isolated strong storms, especially from Madison, I-94 south to Janesville to Beloit to Elkhorn. Right now, I'm thinking strong winds would be the main threat, but we got to keep an eye out on that tornado threat as well, as we'll be right on the cusp of that weather system Wednesday and Wednesday night with that daytime strong storm chance, transitioning over to that slushy wet snow at night. As a recap, we keep snow showers in Thursday morning. By later Friday, maybe a couple more showers, but any storms that we see or storm systems we see after Wednesday, they're not looking like alert day type conditions, just on and off a few shower chances as we round out the 10-day with temperatures at or just a little bit above normal.
Thank you, Alex. The Badger men's basketball team is out of the Big Ten tournament after losing to Michigan.
Yeah, it was unfortunate, but it was a great game.
Yeah,
Did you watch it?
I saw the highlights online. Yeah,
it was a nail biter. But the season is not over for the Badgers just yet. They received the number 3 seed in the East region. They'll face 14 seed Montana on Thursday at Ball Arena in Denver, Colorado. The winner of Thursday's game will face the winner of a game between BYU and VCU on Saturday. This is the Badgers' 28th trip to the Big Dance.
Well, coming up next on Live at 4, and then there were 5.
When we come back, Josh Spreiter introduces us to the 5 finalists for the Spirit of Service Award, honoring local veterans.
In the 608, we're meeting the finalists for Spirit of Service all this week.
Our partners at Vortex narrowed the 206 nominations down to just 5. And our Josh Spreiter caught up with one of those finalists on News 3 Now this morning.
This is Megan Nolan. She's joining us live this morning. Megan, congratulations on your top 5 nominations.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
This is an honor.
When you found out that you were chosen here for the top 5, what was going through your mind?
I was speechless. Honored. I couldn't believe it.
You know, you were also our top nominated veteran. You had 11 people nominate you. How does that feel?
It means a lot. I've been out since 2016, so to still be recognized for that is pretty amazing.
So take us back a little bit. I understand you served in Afghanistan. You're also a registered nurse. And, you know, how has this really shaped your life into where you are today?
It's everything to me. I mean, it's completely built me to be organized, driven, motivated. Usually when I put my mind to something, it's going to happen.
What is it about giving back to you? Why do you continue to give back in your community all these years later?
Growing up in a small town, I saw it firsthand that it is important to make sure that you're involved in your community. And that's just kind of what makes the community successful and growing.
So I understand you have a pretty cool opportunity you're doing in your community right now that you're kind of looking for help on. So talk a little bit about your goals you have.
Yeah, specifically speaking about Rib Lake, Wisconsin, the closest school age before and after school program is about 20 to 45 miles away. That really, you know, is difficult for working parents to balance it all, and I'm one of them. So since we're still a shortfall on childcare, my family decided to purchase an old bank, and we're flipping that into the licensed school age before and after school program.
Wow, good for you, good for you. I would understand, obviously, this is going to take a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of money. So I'm guessing that if you were to win the Spirit of Service and get that $5,000, is that where you'd invest that $5,000 into?
Absolutely. We need fencing, remodels, supplies, altering dramatic play, hiring, educating staff, and it's just going to continue. We want to make sure that we're providing quality care, and that's what Rib Lake deserves. So that's exactly where the money will be going to.
I mean, we're so lucky to live in Wisconsin where we have the backing of our community, but it sounds like, I mean, this is a great opportunity for you, but it also sounds like you also have the backing of your community behind you after all these years.
Absolutely. We're still taking donations, but anytime everybody's, you know, going through their closets, they'll reach out. Do you need this? Do you need that? We just passed the rezoning from a bank to a child care. So the community is 100% behind us. We just got to get the funding to get there, but we deserve it, and we'll get there.
You know, obviously service is all about giving back to the community, and your service didn't stop in Afghanistan. Why do you continue to do this all these years later?
That's me. I'm an oldest child. You tend to just care for others. Children if you invest in them, you're investing in our future, and they deserve it. They deserve, especially school age. It's tough. There's a lot of pressure in school. So we're there to provide that safety, that nurturing, and that support.
Well, Megan, thank you so much for taking an opportunity to talk to us here on News 3 Now. Thank you for your service, and thank you for what you continue to do in your community.
Thank you.
And
thank
good
you for
luck
having me.
to you. Yes, you bet. Guys, we'll send it over to you.
What an
thank
impressive
you.
lady. Congratulations, Megan, and thank you for your service.
And we will have a different interview running every day this week, so you can vote for your favorite veteran through March 30th.
Oh, I can't, that's too much pressure. They're all
I know,
so
they're all so
deserving.
good.
It's wonderful. Go to channel3000.com, click on the Spirit of Service tab, and a winner will be announced on April 2nd.
And coming up, another incident of gun violence at the Harmony Apartments.
When we come back, our Jalen Banks talks with someone who lives there about what kind of safety measures are in place. That's when Live at 4 returns. The movie Novocaine led another painful, no pun intended, weekend at the box office.
That was good. Well, it was the lowest grossing weekend so far in 2025. Will Loper has a review.
Hey, Susan and Brady. A slow weekend at the box office meant the #1 movie, Novocaine, only made $8.7 million.
So, what's your deal?
My deal? I'm just a regular guy with a regular job, but I've got this condition where I don't feel pain.
The film stars Jack Quaid as a man who cannot feel any pain, who must save his girlfriend from bank robbers in a movie that entertains as a bone-crunching action comedy. Also new in theaters and opening to third with $7.5 million is the spy thriller Black Bag.
You asked how it works. To be with someone in this business, this is how. You each know what you know, and you know what you'll do, and you never discuss certain things again.
Steven Soderbergh of the Ocean's trilogy and many more directs the film, starring Michael Fassbender and Cate Blanchett as married spies who work at the same agency.
My devotion to my marriage is my professional weakness.
Fassbender receives the assignment of finding out who leaked a top-secret program called Severus, and his wife is one of the 5 names.
I need a satellite redirect, but this has to be unofficial.
You are one naughty husband, George.
What follows is a sleek and stylish cat-and-mouse game between the 3 couples, and explores how a relationship between spies can be sustained when their lives are built on lies.
Is it true? No one can lie to you?
I don't like liars.
Twists, turns, and fantastic direction and performances all make Black Bag a must-see and among the top of Steven Soderbergh's 36 film career. For Live at 4, I'm Will Loper.
Oh, the Black Bag looks pretty good.
I don't think I can do the Novocaine one.
I think I can't either. The two of us were here cringing together.
Yeah, when he grabbed the pan and his hand sizzled, we didn't like that.
Well, coming up on Live at 4, Wisconsin is part of a multi-state lawsuit against the Trump administration.
How being a part of those suits actually affects you when we're back. We are taking a live look at Dublin, Ireland. According to the internet, it is 9:44 p.m. I think they're still celebrating.
This is a world-famous bar in Dublin. It is on my list. One of these years, Brady, we're going to go. Have you ever been to Dublin?
I haven't, but I have the outfit for it. I'm ready.
You do, and they're all bundled up. It's chilly, 42 and cloudy. But I'd love to do that for St. Patrick's Day sometime.
Well, since President Donald Trump began his second term in office, attorneys general across the country have filed lawsuit against his administration.
Wisconsin's Attorney General Josh Kaul has signed on to several of those over things like pausing federal funding for health research and slashing the workforce at the Department of Education. But what happens after those lawsuits are filed, and how does it affect real people? Earlier, I spoke with constitutional law expert Howard Schwaber to find out. All right, Howard, thanks for joining us. Good to see you today.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. So Wisconsin's Attorney General has signed on to multiple lawsuits against the Trump administration, and it includes a lawsuit over the mass firings across the Department of Education. What exactly do these lawsuits mean for people who are affected by those cuts?
Sure. And the answer is it's not entirely clear. So just yesterday, 2 different federal judges ordered the government to rehire all of those released probationary employees across 14 different departments. The problem is it's not clear in the first instance how the government will carry out that instruction if they choose to. It's not so simple. When you fire people and close their email accounts, it can be hard to find them, as the government's already found in other instances where it's tried to rehire people it fired by mistake. Secondly, of course, all these orders will be appealed. And until this matter reaches the Supreme Court, the Trump administration has made it clear that they're going to at best drag their feet and at worst outright simply refuse to comply with orders from lower court judges. So for all of us, the question of whether these firings with all of their consequences for government services will remain in place really remains an unknown. Unless and until the Supreme Court finally weighs in on the question. And for employees in particular, it is likely that there will be no steps to try and offer them an opportunity to be rehired, even if that is the final outcome, at least for a matter of some months.
Well, can a district court judge file an injunction to usurp the executive authority of the president? Sure. Is that constitutional?
Absolutely. I should point out that there's a strong measure of hypocrisy in all the conservative outrage over district court judges making orders that apply to the whole federal government. During the Obama and Biden administration, Republicans were very eager to have conservative judges, particularly the Fifth Circuit, district court judges, issue injunctions that apply to the whole federal government. A couple of major examples from the Obama days were DACA and Medicaid expansion, for people who remember, those issues. It is a quirk of our system that because the federal government appears in court as a single party, as a single entity, an order from a trial judge, that's a district court judge in a federal court, binds the party, meaning the whole federal government.
Do you expect these lawsuits to be taken all the way to the Supreme Court? Is that what you think, or are they going to play out throughout the president's term?
Oh, absolutely, these will go to the Supreme Court. So we've already, just this week, seen the first big claim come to the Supreme Court. That's the one involving the executive order ending birthright citizenship for certain categories of people. And one thing that's interesting is that the government's brief, what they filed with the Supreme Court in that case, talked much less about the issue of birthright citizenship than about precisely the question you just raised. Is it acceptable? Is it constitutional for a single district court judge to be able to bind the entire federal government? That's the question that right now the Trump administration is pressing the Supreme Court to answer.
It's fascinating, and we'll be watching it closely as it develops. We hope you'll continue to be part of the conversation as we continue to cover this. Howard Schwaber, always great to have an opportunity to talk to you. Thank you so much.
And Chief Meteorologist Alex O'Harrington is watching the weather closely. Let's check in with him. Do we have a pot of gold at the end of this forecast?
We have a pot of gold for the beginning of this forecast. How about we put it that way? Really lucky stuff here. Irish or not, temperatures in the 50s and clear skies through the evening hours. A beautiful evening, do just about anything. Although I would encourage you with the grilling, if you're going to do that with temperatures right now, we have elevated fire danger outside right now, just to add that. But temperature-wise, again, gorgeous all the way up through the end of the evening. We're still at 54 degrees. Look at the green out there. Perfect for St. Patrick's Day. A little bit of yellow over there, too, to the west, as temperatures in the 60s will invade southern Wisconsin by the time we get to tomorrow. So lucky again tomorrow. Lucky right now, 58 in Middleton, 59 now in Cross Plains. Lucky with these overnight low temperatures in the upper 30s to right around 40 degrees. That's about 10 degrees above our normal low temperature for this time of year. And then we're going to do about almost 20 degrees above normal as we head into Tuesday. Clouds will be streaming in. Winds will eventually increase more out of the east and southeast out ahead of that next weather maker that we started talking about after our big alert day last week, where we had all the damaging winds and good good portion of southern Wisconsin. Now we transition to Wednesday and Wednesday night because we're going to have that chance of a storm, but also transitioning over to that slushy, heavy, wet snow. Future Track shows it all here. Here comes the showers late Tuesday night as we go on into Wednesday. Could be looking at a couple of thunderstorms developing in southwest Wisconsin, sweeping across the rest of southern Wisconsin. Here comes that rain mixed with snow, Camp Douglas, Dells. As we go into the evening hours, look how quick that changes over to snow by the time we get to 10 o'clock in the Madison area and then towards midnight south and east of Madison. A little bit of accumulation out of this. Not looking at a big winter storm for southern Wisconsin. We're looking at 1, 2, maybe 3 inches of slushy snow. The heavy persistent snow is going to be way to the northwest. If you have any travel up the interstate up towards Minneapolis, and Eau Claire area, they will likely see the heavier snow. We get the water. We need the water for sure. Anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to an inch in total here. Now, this is not the good stuff here. If we get our temperatures in the upper 50s to the lower 60s, just enough moisture right at the apex of the low pressure and warm front, we could be looking at a couple of strong storms in southern Wisconsin on Wednesday. Gusty winds, some hail. The wind is the main threat, then hail. We can't rule out an isolated tornado. That's a very, very low risk, but we're going to keep a close eye on them. I just gave a lot of information there. Let's break that down. Wednesday and Wednesday night, alert day conditions. Part number 1 is the potential for a strong storm or two, and then that rain changes over to that slushy wet snow as you go into the evening hours into the very, very beginning of Thursday. Not looking at that sticking around long into Thursday with temperatures up near 40. We're going to melt that or much of that 1 to 3 inches of slushy snow. Looking at possibly a little bit more rain as we go into Friday. Dry Saturday, then rain. It's this on and off unsettled weather pattern. I guess that's not the luckiest part of our forecast, but what is lucky in the whole forecast here over the next 10 days, temperatures at or a bit above normal. How about that?
Sounds good. Well, comedian Conan O'Brien will do an encore performance for next year's Academy Awards.
He will return as the host of the 2026 Oscars. This year's Oscars telecast brought in over 19.7 million viewers. It was the largest audience for Hollywood's highest honors in 5 years. It was very funny.
I thought he did a great job.
I
made me laugh a lot.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I think so too. Final check of the weather.
Final check. The lucky stuff is right now.
Yes.
We'll keep the Irish theme going here. Then the not such lucky stuff. Wednesday going into Wednesday night. We started talking about these alert day conditions last week. Looks like they'll verify heavy rain, maybe a strong storm, then changing over to slushy wet snow Wednesday night with 1 to 3 inches of snow accumulation and strong winds too. Then those winds are going to carry on into Thursday, but warm up to 40 and things will melt.
All right, Alex, thank you. We'll be right back. Tomorrow on Live at 4, we sit down for a one-on-one interview with Madison's interim police chief. And coming up later tonight on News 3 Now at 6, state Supreme Court ads are dominating the airwaves. Our political reporter Will Keneally will show us how true they are in a News 3 Now reality check. That's coming up at 6. Thanks for watching Live at 4 today, everybody. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right after this.